Welcome to The Curious Leader, a podcast exploring the humble and human way of new leadership. Curious leadership, future skills farming, and new leadership all have one thing in common. It's a humble way with great impact. Creating a culture, creating your culture, means cultivating people, teams, and communication along with adapting frameworks and principles how to work together. The Curious Leaders podcast takes you on to meaningful conversations. My guests and I will reflect and exchange on new leadership, the importance of trust, courage, and curiosity, on future skills farming as well, such as developing the art of listening and how to create a culture for creativity and innovation, how to deal with conflict, with misunderstandings, with different human needs. My name is Carola Zakotnik. I'm a keynote speaker, facilitator, coach, trainer, and also author and performing artist. I work with leaders of all areas to improve their impact, supporting them in creating new cultures and new leadership styles. And you can find more on Curious Leadership and myself on carolazakotnik.com or meaningful-conversations.online. My today's guest is Horst Michael Schaffer. You are a musical director. You're a band leader. You're also kind of a founding member. And as you said, the one who does all of jazz big band Graz. But please introduce yourself a bit. What kind of instrument? Who are you?
Yes, hello everybody. Very nice to get invited to this podcast. Yes, I'm a musician, and I'm a jazz musician who leads, or I guess this is the main band or the main topic and the most interesting topic, who leads the Jazz Big Band Graz, which is a professional jazz orchestra founded 20 years ago already. And over the years we developed our own sound, our own music, and it's pretty, in a way, radical and also a very unique orchestral sound that we developed.
The title of this podcast is The Curious Leader, and I think you just represent that really well, that you were always looking and you kept on being curious and you're leading at the same time.
I have to.
I think every leader has to, in the end. That keeps authenticity so present, and that keeps a nice human atmosphere, and also keeps away problems.
Well, problems, I think, occur here and there, everywhere. So it doesn't. You just have to deal with them, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm not afraid of problems. I just have to find a way of solving the problems. And it's very clear that problems may occur, because if you move forward, you know, there's a lot of people who are not within your journey, or they disagree. But that's a natural thing. So you just have to focus on keeping your path. And on the other hand, take your surroundings within your path as good as possible, as humble as possible, but still, there in an orchestra like the Jazz Big Band Graz, which is now we have for this last project, the Space Between Us, which we had the premiere recently. There's 19 people on stage, but there's also sound design and lights and visuals and everything. So during this Corona period, a lot of things occurred to my mind, and I just tried to figure out how to put this on stage. And I could go more political, because we see that the topics, you choose. This is a very interesting point always, So on the other hand, it's still the music, and the music has to be for my accessible, has to deal with life. It has to be really the beauty in it. It has to be very strengthless. It has to be very ugly sometimes. Oh, ugly is the wrong word. Rough, maybe, but still strong. And all different tastes and pictures, and in general, a lot of people are always, I hear this all the time, that they say, yeah, how can you write this music? We have so many associated pictures in our head, you know.
So the product, in business language, of the Jazz Big Band Graz is a music that evokes images in the head of the audience. I was curious how Horst Michael Schaffer does write this music. And I think his approach is one we could also apply in business world, to think from the perspective of the customer and still not trying to tell the customer what to think.
The thing is, I write music where I already, from the perspectives of the audience. Mm. So I'm not, this is my music and I write the music. So I see, if I put it on stage, I see it from the perspective of the audience, and I look at the stage and I make up my mind and try different things and say, okay, this has to be like this, and this has to be like this, and this has to be like this. And how now is there's a picture that comes up, and it has to be really the beauty in it, and then there must be hope, and there must be resistance, and there must be, you know, so all these topics you choose, this is the important thing for me. Also, which poetry you choose to combine with this, because in this project there's a lot of poetry inside. So, and then the music comes automatically. Mm-hmm. So I don't have to think about too much about melodies or anything. I think I'm a melody guy. So my phone is full of melodies, because every day I sing 5 new melodies on my phone, because this is the way I compose.
Wonderful what you're saying, because you're describing something that when I work with my clients, I work a lot on that I call it inspired leading, but also inspired developing. And when you say you see it from the audience perspective, and in business it would call from the customer's perspective, and you develop in your head a customer's journey, which usually if you have a product now, until you get to the product, people have to go through a journey, so they really want it and appreciate it in the end. And this is what you're doing, and you want them to live through certain things, and you cannot decide for them, but you can invite them in and lay out something. Okay, this is, like you said, rough, this is harmonious, this is elegant, this is a friction here.
It has to be a journey. It has to be a journey. It's an evening concert, about 90 minutes, maybe 2 hours. Still, this is not fixed. It can be, you know, it's open. And so, it has to be a journey. And I think you cannot tell people what they have to think. Mm-hmm. They have to find themselves, you know, which pictures they choose. These their pictures. But I'm happy already if they say, I have pictures. You know? This is. And then my mission is accomplished, because this is what I do. What I try to create is some atmospheres. Let's put it like this. I think that's the most the most correct word or term. Just in moods, in atmospheres, and they are changing all the time throughout the evening. And so everyone can make up his own journey, and that's fine. And this is, because otherwise sometimes musicians are more too technical or more from their own point of view. I think it's a very open concept, but I'm not sure if anybody can learn this. It's just if you're that kind of guy, you do this. If not, there's a lot of other concepts, you know.
It sounds like, and you know, we're talking about leadership, curiosity, humbleness, humanness. I can just imagine or guess that there are certain points I work with my clients. I mean, I come from music and theater, so sometimes I'm much more real, you know, because with a word you become immediately very, very clear. You define the image in the heads much more. And that's good and bad sometimes, you know, but I also come from this creative part. And I would say, on one hand, it's about leadership, going and creating atmosphere for the heads of the audience. And the next question is, I mean, this is like in business, you know, you have a service, you have a product, and you guess what.
But I think I'm not leading the audience. I'm not the leadership for the audience. The only point where leadership for me is really requested or is mandatory is when I work with the musicians to get them
How do you do that?
understand my idea, my vision. And this is, I mean, you can hire the best musicians in the world. You always have to take him on the hand.
Of course.
The only thing is that in our orchestra, and this is what I really like, there are a lot of colleagues, musicians who I know already 20 years. So it's like Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington didn't just write orchestra pieces. When he wrote for his big band, he knew exactly who was playing the part. So he knew this is a really good clarinet player and he has this certain sound of this clarinet, and then he gave the part to this clarinet player and to this trombone player and to this trumpet. And if you do this and you are really a good observer, this is a very, I think, in generally in art, observing is one of the biggest, not only in painting, you know. So in music and everything is of the biggest challenges and one of the biggest goals you can achieve. If you're a good observer, you know who is doing things really good naturally. So I try. It's not always easy to do, but I try to give things to the certain people who have their strength in certain things, you know. So this is a kind of thing where you don't have to talk a lot then, you know, because you give like a really weird bass clarinet part to a guy who know already for 20 years and you know already how he will approach this part, this written out notes, these lines, these melodies, and I expect that already from him. So you don't have to talk too much and explain him this is the kind of music and you have to play like this and like this. He just does it because you know it already, he will do it this way. So I think this is a kind of responsibility a really good leader has to do, just to the weaks and the highs or the strength, you know, of certain people, to observe that and to use this for your vision.
Great.
And in music, I mean, especially if you have 20 people, you know, if you're just playing trio or four, it's more unique anyway. But this is a kind of orchestral thing. They're not all they're all soloists, but not everybody can play solo at the same time. So they have to really understand the vision. And there is other points where you, in the stage of rehearsing and, you know, preparing and putting a show together, where you still where the communication is not so easy. that can be that it's already an exhausting day, and you want to try it again, and they say, okay, no, let's go for a beer. It's really, we can't do it anymore, but you just want to try things just to change it for tomorrow morning, and things like this. So there can be a lot of problems or a lot of misunderstandings. And another thing where I think specifically where I'm good at, that I can be a kind of animal in terms of workaholic, just don't give up too early.
Go on.
I know already everybody's tired, and I just would put it in words. Everybody's tired, and everybody's, wants to go home, and it's stressful, and, and it's also personal already and everything. But the thing is, don't give up too early.
Sometimes it's good to let go of good advice and just listen to good music. And as we have this month a musical director as my guest, let's just listen to his music. Jazz Big Band Graz and Overture. And that was it for today. And in the next episode, you will hear Horst Michael Schaffer talking about how to lead experts. My thesis is experts are easy to lead, but what do you need to know for it? Hear you next time. The Curious Leader. please think of subscribing to the podcast. And you can do that on meaningful-conversations.online or, of course, on your favorite platform.